Hi everyone, Kevin here. In this video, we're going to make a professional looking website using AI. If you need a website but you've never built one before, this video is for you. We'll learn how to design a homepage, add pages, modify text, insert images, set up a shopping cart, and even set up email at your domain name. And with the help of AI, this will all be so much easier. By the end of this video, you'll have your very own fully functional website that you can publish. I partnered with Hostinger to show you how you can do this, so let's check it out. To make your very own website, head to hostinger.com/Kevin Stratvert. You could click on the card in the top right-hand corner, and I've also included a link in the description. We're using Hostinger because they offer very competitive pricing, and you also get lots of rich functionality. All in all, they offer very good value. Once you land on this website, click on the option that says Claim Deal. And here you'll see two different plan options. You have the Premium Website Builder and also the Business Website Builder. Both plans offer very reasonable pricing and have similar website building functionality. The key difference is that the Business Website Builder offers a few more AI tools that make it easier to build your website, and it also comes with e-commerce capabilities, which means you can sell products on your website. I recommend going with the business plan, and that's what we'll be using today. Next, choose the length of your plan. The longer you select, the bigger the discount is. If you go with at least the 12-month plan, you also get a free domain name. Once you select the plan that you like, enter in your payment information down below, and at the very bottom, enter the coupon code Kevin Stratvert. That'll give you an additional 10% off. Once you finish signing up for an account, you'll land here on the home screen. To create a new website, up on the top navigation, let's click on Websites. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll see the option to Add Website. When you click on this, you'll see a few different options. First, you have WordPress with AI. If you've never heard of WordPress, it's one of the most popular content management systems for creating and managing websites. In fact, most of the websites on the internet use WordPress. It offers lots and lots of customizations, so you can get your website to look exactly how you want it to look. But because of that, it's a little bit more complicated and a much steeper learning curve. Under that, there's another option for the Hostinger Website Builder. You can also build beautiful websites with this. It uses AI to generate a fully professional website. If you want to customize it, it's all drag and drop with no code, although there aren't quite as many customization options as WordPress. The benefit is that it's a lot easier to use. If you just need a simple website, this is probably the way to go. If you have more complex e-commerce needs, WordPress is probably the better choice, but it's your call. Keep in mind, you can always experiment with both. You can set up multiple websites in your Hostinger account. In this video, we're going to use the Hostinger Website Builder with AI. On this next screen, we can now use AI to pull together an initial website. And although we're using AI to pull together the site, you could always come in later and modify and customize the site. But this gives you a really good starting point. If you would instead prefer to browse website design templates, down at the very bottom, you'll see this option that says, or use pre-made templates. When you click on this, here you'll see lots of different beautifully designed templates, and maybe there's one that matches what you'd like. You could simply click on that and you could use that template. Up above, you have all sorts of different categories that you could browse through to find the exact template for your needs. But in this video, I want to use AI to design a template for me. So right over here, we see text that says, use the power of AI to create a website tailored specifically for you. Let's click on this button that says, try AI Website Builder. Back on this page, let's click on Start Creating. This now drops us on a page where we need to tell the AI a little bit of information about our website. This will help the AI build our website. And we need to start with the brand name. Today, I want to build a website for the Kevin Cookie Company Factory Tours, so I'll type that in. Keep in mind that you could always go in and you can modify this later. Next, we need to specify what type of website, and you have a number of different options. I'd like to pull together an online store because I'm planning on selling tickets on this website. I'll select this option. Down below, you can also describe the website that you would like to create. And with AI, the more descriptive that you can be, the better. Here, I'll say we run a cookie company called the Kevin Cookie Company. We offer tours of our chocolate factory, which includes a chocolate river. Please include the colors yellow and blue. Use a fun font, my favorite, Comic Sans. And please include photos of chocolate and cookies. So again, the more details in here, the better. Right down here, you also have some personalization settings. And when I click on that, here you can choose a style, few different options, and also colors. But I'm satisfied with these defaults. So here I'll minimize this, and down at the very bottom, let's click on create a website. Now we just have to wait a moment for a beautiful website to come together. And look at this, AI has now generated a fully functional website for us. Here, it incorporates the brand color of the blue. I also have lots of placeholder text related to the Kevin Cookie Company. And of course, we have lots of imagery that includes chocolate and also cookies. Here we have lots of different sample products. This gives me a really good starting place. Now, of course, if you'd like to give it another go, in the top left-hand corner, you can go back to that AI form. You'll see that prompt again, and you can generate another website. Every time you generate a variation, it'll save a new website in your account, so you don't have to worry about losing any of these. This is now a fully functional website, so up on top I can click on any of the links, and here I can navigate through my website. Here I'll go back to home. And it also optimizes this website for mobile. In the top right hand corner, I can click on the phone icon, and here I can see my website on a phone. I think I could work with this. Now, I have some work to do, and I need to start editing this website. In the top right-hand corner, let me click on Edit Site. This now drops us in the main website builder, and by default, we land here on the home page. This is the main page that visitors land on when they type in your domain name. Speaking of domain names, we haven't yet connected this website to a domain name. Now you could always build your website and connect it later, but if you'd like to connect it now, up on top, let's hover over this text, and here you'll see the option to connect your own domain name. If you chose to go with at least a 12-month plan, you got a free domain name for your first year. Let's click on this. On this next screen, you can now search for a domain name for your website, and I would highly recommend picking a domain. This will make it much easier for visitors to come to your website. So right in here, let's see if Kevin Cookie Company factorytours.com is available, and it looks like it is. Now here, again, you get your first year free for this domain. I'll click on this, and down below, let's click on next. Next, you'll need to fill out some details related to your domain name. I'll go through and do that. Once you finish registering your domain name, up on top, you'll now see your brand new domain name, and here I see that it's currently connected. Beautiful. Let's now look down below at the main page of the website. This page is composed of different sections. If we hover over this top section, this is referred to as the header, and over on the left-hand side, we can see that. The header is a special type of section that appears on all pages throughout your website. Right down here, there's another section, and if we scroll down, here's another section, and if we go all the way down to the bottom, we have another special type of section called the footer. And just like with the header, this appears on all pages throughout your website. Now, if I go right back up to the top, you'll notice that I have different elements within a section. So over here, we have a text element, here's a button element, and here's also an image element. When I click on any one of these, you can see the element name right over here. Now, looking at the top left-hand corner, here I have a logo element, and currently it just says logo. That's not really that helpful. I want to customize this. So to edit any type of element, simply click on it, and over on the right-hand side, I see an overlay with header settings currently set to logo. Right over here, I could toggle the logo off, or here I could toggle it back on. And here I could replace the image. Or if I'd like to be adventurous, I could also use AI to create a unique logo for me. But I already have a logo for the Kevin Cookie Company, so over here, I'll click on Replace Image. This now opens up a screen where I can add my logo to the media library. Up on top, I'll click on Upload Files. And there's my logo file. I'll double click on this, and it's now uploaded it. To select this, here, I'll click on the button that says Select. And look at that, it's now inserted the logo on the header. That's looking really nice. Over on the right-hand side, I can also adjust various settings. Maybe I want to make this logo just a little bit bigger. Over here, I'll drag the slider over, and that's looking good. That way it stands out just a little bit more. Within header settings, I can also adjust other attributes about how this header looks. For example, if I click into Layout, Here we have different options. For example, I could adjust the link spacing. There you'll notice there's a little bit more spacing between those links. Let me leave it right at about there. I could also adjust the position of the logo. Let's say, for example, I want to center the logo. I can do that, and there you can see the change right up above. Or here, I could even place the links under the logo. But I was actually happy with the way it looked, so over here, let's go back with the first option. You could also adjust the padding. Over here, you could adjust the way the shopping bag appears on the header. Or here, you could even add text alongside your shopping bag. And here you also have some different style options. When I click into this, you can add a button to your header. You could also add social icons if you have those. And down below, you have a few additional settings. So feel free to play with them. And as you make changes here, you'll see them appear right up above on the header. For now, I'll close out of this. I'm now satisfied with the way the header looks, so let's now move on to the first section. I'm not quite sure if I want to keep this blue background. To edit this section itself, simply click into that section, and here you get this overlay that allows you to edit it. Now, I want to try maybe an image background. So over here, I have the option to generate an image using AI. Let's try that by clicking on this. On the right, I can now type in a description of the image that I would like to create. I would like a cookie factory with a chocolate river, just to demonstrate to people what our factory looks like. Down at the very bottom, let's now create images. It's now generated some AI images, and this looks like a big factory with a river going through. So let me select that option, and that'll now update the background picture. Over here, let's close out of this. Now that I've inserted a new background, it's a little hard to read the text against it. The contrast really isn't that good. So with this section selected, let's click on Edit Section. And let me actually try a different image that the AI generated. I'll click on Replace Image. And here I see all the different images that the AI generated. And I think I like this one better. I think that shows a chocolate river a lot better than some of these other images. I'll click on Select, and that now swaps in that new image. But here too, that's a little bit hard to read against this background. So over here, I can adjust the overlay opacity. Here, I'll drag it up, and that'll make it a little bit darker so you could still read that text on top. You also have the option to make a fixed background. And when I toggle that on, here, as I scroll down the page, you'll notice that the background locks in place. It's kind of a neat effect. I think I like that. I'll leave that turned on, and I'm satisfied with the background. So up here, let's close out of this. Looking over on the left-hand side, it currently says Kevin Cookie Company Fun, but I want it to say Kevin Cookie Company Factory Tours. When I hover over, you'll notice that this is a text element, and when I click on it, I get different controls. Let's click on Edit Text, and here I see a cursor. Here, I could get rid of Fun, and let's type in Factory Tours. Right up on top, I also have all of my different formatting controls. I want Factory Tours to have more emphasis than the Kevin Cookie Company. I'll highlight this text and let's reduce the font size to maybe 32. That way the Factory Tours stands out a lot more. I think that now looks good. The AI generated text down below looks great, so I could leave that as is. However, this button currently says Explore, and I'd rather have that say Buy Tickets. When I click on this button, just like we saw with the text and also this section, I get this overlay control that allows me to edit it. Over here, I'll click on Edit Button, and here I can adjust the button text. Instead of saying Explore, here, let's say Buy Tickets. And down below, I can choose where this button should link to. Now I can set it to any web address, I could set it to a file, or even a section on my page. Let me scroll down and see if we have a section for the shop or a page for the shop. And right here, there's the option for shop. I'll select that. And here you could also decide whether it should open in a new tab, but I'm happy with it staying on the current page. You could also adjust things like the style and also over here, the animation for this button, but I'm happy with the defaults. So let's close out of this. Over on the right-hand side, we have this image of really delicious looking cookies, but we actually don't offer cookies like this at the Kevin Cookie Company. So just like we've been doing with the text and the button, to edit an element, simply click on it, and here we get this overlay with all these different controls related to an image. Here, I could try generating another image, but I actually have one in mind. Here, I'll click on Edit Image, and here I have all my different controls that I can use to edit the way this image appears. Now right down here, I want to replace with a different image. I'll click on this, and let me upload an image from my computer. And right here is the perfect image. I'll double click on that, and that'll now upload it to my media library. I'll click on Select, and this has now inserted my image on the page. Now, it's a little large. Now, I could click on any one of these handles and I could adjust the size. So let me adjust it so it's just at about that size. Now, one of the neat things too is with all these different elements, you can adjust the position on the page. Here, for example, I can press and hold and I can drag it all over this grid and place it exactly where I want it. So let me place it more to the right. And over here too with the text, I could click on that and here I could adjust the position of the text to get it exactly where I want it. But I thought the position was actually fine, so I'll leave it as is. Looking at this section, I think it's a little bit tall. I want people to get to the content quicker. So here, if I hover over between the two sections, I can click on this icon to adjust the section height. And let me drag it up so it's a little bit smaller. I think I like that better. Also, looking down below, we call out delicious treats, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to use this section for. I don't know if I really need it. So here, when I click into the section, I get that overlay again, and let me delete this section. That'll now remove it. Here we have the shop with all the different items that we sell, and I'm okay with that for now. But here we also call out a testimonial for the chocolate factory. I'd prefer to have this above the shop. So here, when I click into a section, I could click on this up arrow and that moves that section up on my page. So there, I could choose the order where all these different sections appear. Now, I think it would make sense to include another section here that maybe has an FAQ. So over here, when I hover over in between sections, I could click on add a section. And here I see all these different templates for different sections that I can include on this page. And here we have all sorts of different types like testimonials, gallery, slideshow, lots of different options. But here's an FAQ. I'll click on that and I like this one right here. Let me select that and that now inserts an FAQ on my page. I also want to include one more section that calls out what you'll get with one of these factory tours. So over here, let's click on add a section. And for this one, instead of going with a template, I'd like to add a blank section. I'll click on this option right here and that now gives me a blank section. Now that I have this new blank section, I want to start adding different elements to the section. But before we do that, let's first set a background color. I'll click on Edit Section. And over here, I can choose a color for the background. I'll click on this color. And here it shows me all the different colors that have been used on this website. Let's go with this blue color. I think that looks good. And then I'll close out of this. To add an element to this section, over on the left-hand side, let's click on this plus icon that says Add Element. And when I click on that, you'll see all the different types of elements that you can add to the page. For example, you could add text. Here's the option for a button, an image. You could even add a video, a map. And down below, you can even embed code. So you have lots of different options. I want to include some text. So up on top, I'll click on text. This has now inserted a text box onto the page that says write your text here. But instead of me writing it, let's see if maybe the AI writer can help with this. I'll click on AI writer. And here it wants me to describe what I would like to write. So let me type something in. Here, I typed in that I would like it to describe the fun of going on a Kevin Cookie Company factory tour. And I gave some additional information. Down below, I'll click on create text. And look at that, this text looks great. I think I'm gonna keep that. I think it looks good. Now, right up on top, I want to add a title for this text. So let me delete this and let's type in Experience the Magic of Cookie Creation. Now, of course, it's a little hard to read this black text on a blue background. I'll press Control A to select all of this text. And here I have all of my different formatting controls. Over on the left-hand side, I'll click on the text color and let's go with white and then click out. I think that looks really nice. Now, just like we saw earlier, I can click on this element and I can now drag it anywhere within this section. Let's move it right to about here. I like that position. Next, I'd like to include an image as part of this section. So just like we did with the text over on the left-hand side, let's click on the plus icon for add element. And right over here, we see an option for image. I'll click on this. This has now inserted a placeholder image. Over here, I'll click on edit image. And right here, let's replace the image. And right over here, let's go with this AI generated image of a boat going down a chocolate river. I'll select that one. And here I can now reposition the image. I'll place it right at about there. Let's put it right so it's level with the text. Now this section is far taller than it needs to be. So let's reduce the height. Click on this icon and here I can drag it up and I'll position it right there. And yeah, I think that looks really nice. So far, we've looked at the essentials of sections and also some of the most common elements that you'll use. But there's also a special type of element called a form. And if I scroll all the way down the page, here you'll see that there's a Contact Us form included. So how do these work? Well, just like any other type of element on the page, you simply click on it, and here we can edit the form. And here you can fill out the form name, where the form submissions should go. And here you can also add additional fields. You can change the button styles. So just like any other element, you simply click on it and then you can edit it. But where do the submissions actually go to? Here, if we click on the General tab, down at the very bottom, you can click on this button to view all of the form submissions. So not only do you get an email notification, but you can also view them all directly in your account. I'll close out of this. Up to this point, we've been focusing most of our attention on the home page of the website. But if you look at the top navigation, you'll notice that this website also has a number of other pages. So how do we edit these pages and how do we work with them? Over on the left-hand side, let's click on this icon for Pages and Navigation. Within Pages and Navigation, you'll see all of the different web pages that make up your website. To edit any one of these pages, simply click on it. For example, I'll click on the menu, and that drops me on the menu page. Or here, I could click on Contact, and that drops me on the Contact page. Here, I'll go back to the Home page. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can also click on Add Page to add a new page to the website. And when I click on that, here I see all sorts of different categories for pages. Currently, I'm on About. And if I want to include a new About page over here, I could choose one of these templates. And I kind of like this design. I think this will work well. So I could click on this, and this has now added a new page. Here I could give the page a name, and also I can specify the URL. And I have a few other settings as well. I'll click on Save. On the left-hand side, I can now adjust the position of these pages. The position here affects the order in which they appear as part of my navigation. Now, I actually want About before Contact, so let me pull this up, and there we now see that About comes before Contact. But actually, on second thought, I think Contact is more of a sub-page under About. So over here, I can drag it over onto About, and I'll release right there. So now you'll see that Contact is a sub-page of About. Now up on top on the navigation, if I hover over About, here I see Contact as another option. I like the way that looks. Now, I'm not sure if I need the menu page. We're not publishing a menu here. I can click on this settings gear, and at the very bottom, there's the option to delete a page. I'll click on delete, and yes, I am sure. Let's click on that, and that now removes that page. If I scroll to the top, you'll see that it's no longer part of my navigation. Also, here we say shop, but I think it would make more sense to say buy tickets. I'll click on the settings gear, and here, there's the option to rename this page. I'll click on this, and then right up above, I'll type in buy tickets. That looks good, and down below, I'll click on save. On all of the pages I used throughout this website, for the Kevin Cookie Company blue, I think the color we used was slightly off. Over on the left-hand side, let's click in this option for styles. And here we can see all of the colors, fonts, button styles, and also animations used throughout this entire website. Now, that color blue was a little bit off, and here I can see that we've used it 20 times. I can click on change, and here I'll click on select, and it's a slightly darker shade of blue. So here I can make it a little bit darker. It looks close, but it is a little bit darker. And down below, I'll click on accept. And here I could close out, and that now updates all the different references to that shade of blue. Looking at this website, it feels just a little bit stale. I think it would really help to share the latest news about the Cookie Factory. That way we really get people excited about coming to visit. Over on the left-hand side, let's click on this icon for AI tools. And here we see all these different categories for the different AI tools that are available as part of a business plan. And we've already explored a few of them, like the image generator and the writer. But if we look down just a little bit, there's something called the AI blog generator. And I think that'll help us here. So let's click on this option. This now opens up a dialog where we can use AI to create a blog post. Over here, I can choose the tone of voice. Now, this is a cookie company, so let's go with casual. Here, I could choose the length of content. I want it to be a shorter article, so I think 300 to 500 words will work well. And down below, I can type in a description. Well, we recently opened our chocolate factory tours. Customers are loving the tours, and it's difficult to get tickets, so you should buy right away. Let's see if we can turn this into a blog post. Down below, I'll click on Create Content. This has now generated a new blog post that's also search engine friendly. And this looks like a lot of great content. Of course, I'll probably want to go through here, read the article, make sure everything is accurate, and perhaps add some additional text myself. But for now, I think this looks great. Over on the left-hand side, there's also a new icon for blog. And when I click on this, I can see all the different blog posts on the site. A few of them are sample blog posts, and here's the one that we just generated using AI. Currently, it's in draft. I can click on these three dots, and over here, I can now publish this blog post. So you might be wondering, well, how do people actually get to these blog posts on the website? Right now, we don't have it as part of the top-level navigation. Well, to add it to the top-level navigation, over on the left-hand side, let's click on Pages and Navigation. Down at the very bottom, you'll see the option to add a page. I'll click on this, and here we see all of the different page types. I want to add a page that aggregates all of the different blog posts. Right up here, I see the option for blog, and right up here, there's one template. So let's click on this. This opens up all of the different page settings for my blog posts. Currently, it's called blog in the navigation. You can see that up above, but I'd rather have it say latest news. So I'll update this, and then we see that it also shows that up above. I think that sounds good, so I'll click on save. On the page itself, here too, it also says blog. Let me delete this text. I'll double click, and here I could remove it. And here too, I'll also type in latest news. If I scroll down the page, here you'll now see that it aggregates all of my different blog posts onto one page. If I click on latest news up above, that'll drop me on this page. I think this looks great. Along with sharing all of the latest happenings at our cookie factory, I also want to make sure that people can buy tickets to a tour directly from our website. Over on the left-hand side, under the blog icon, there's an option for online store. Let's click on this. This opens up a listing of all of the different products that we offer here, but I don't see an option for buy tickets. Down at the very bottom, let's click on Manage Store. On this next page, we need to configure the online store. Right up here, let's give the store a name. I'll call this the KCC Factory Tours, and then click on Continue. Here, I need to select a country. I'll set it to United States and also a currency, USD. Those both look good, so I'll click on Continue. This now drops us in the store manager, and we have all the different tools that we need to be able to sell items online. First, we need to add our first product. So over here, let's click on Add Product. Here, we can decide what type of product to offer customers. You can offer physical products, digital, services, donations, and even appointments. Now, with the Chocolate Factory Tour, this is an appointment-based product, so I'll select this. Right over here, I will enable it. This now drops you on a page where you can configure all the details related to your product. For example, you can upload a product image, and here I'll upload a ticket for the Chocolate Factory. Down below, you can also type in a title. Mine is the Kevin Cookie Company Factory Tour. A subtitle, a ribbon. For example, we have limited supply. Here, I could write in a description. You could also use AI to write your description. For this, let me type in some text. I think this works well. Down below, you have a few other settings. One of the most important ones, the price. Let me type in $150. You could also enter any available discounts. You could categorize your different products. That way, it makes it easier for customers to find related products. Also, a time and a place. Well, mine's at the Chocolate Factory. I'll select this option. Also, how long it is. The Chocolate Factory Tour is 120 minutes. I'll enter that in. And here you could also set different conditions and availability. Now, depending on the type of product, you'll have different fields available. Many of these are specific to appointments. This all looks good now, so I'll click on Save. Once you finish adding your first product, up in the top left-hand corner, let's go back to the dashboard. And here we see all the different remaining items that you'll need to complete before you're able to sell items online. Next up, you can also set up a payment method. And when you click on this, you have a few different options. You could accept PayPal, and there's also a service called Stripe, and you'll likely want to use this one. This allows you to accept all major credit cards like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and many others. Once you're done setting up payments, go back to the dashboard. Back on the dashboard, you'll also need to update your company information as well as the different shipping options that you offer. This is especially important if you have physical products that you sell. And once you go through all of that, you'll have a store up and running on your website. It's really easy and intuitive. Once you're all done configuring your store, in the top right-hand corner, you can go back to your website by clicking on Edit Website. Back now on the website. On the top level navigation, if I click on Buy Tickets, this drops me into our store. Here I see all the different products we offer, and there's the option for the Kevin Cookie Company Factory Tour for $150 for 120 minutes. And if I click on that, here I can see all the details of this item. Now that we have an online store up and running, let's take a look at some of the more advanced functionality. Up on the top navigation, let's click back to home. And over on the left-hand side, let's go back to the AI tools. Over here, there's a very interesting one called the AI heat map. Let's click on that. This now generates a heat map where visitors to your website will likely spend more attention. For example, they'll likely look at the factory tours, the logo over on the right-hand side, the header, but maybe not as much the text down below. Here, another massive testimonial. They'll likely look at that. And here you can see where they're going to look on your website. The golden ticket really stands out, so they look at that. A really neat function to experiment with just to see where will people focus on your site. Over on the left-hand side, when you click into the three dots, you also have some additional options. Here you have general settings. You could also review all of your form submissions, analytics, how many people are visiting your website, where are they coming from, that type of information. And down below, you have some additional settings that you can review. Now, I think this site's coming together really nicely, but I do want to preview what it looks like on mobile before I publish. Up on top, we're currently looking at the desktop view, but over here, I can click on the phone icon, and here I can preview the site on mobile. And I think this looks really solid. Right up on top, I could go back to the desktop view, and once you're ready to publish, in the top right-hand corner, let's click on the button that says Go Live. Down below, let's click on Go Live. And look at that, congratulations, the website is now live. Here, I can see the website address, and let's try viewing the site. And look at this, the website is now live. Here we see those animations where the image and the text come in. The site looks really nice. I think we did a really good job. You may also be wondering, how do you set up email at your new domain name? Back on the Hostinger home screen, up on the top navigation, click on the option that says Emails. And right here, you'll have the option to set up a free email plan at your domain. So here, I now have email set up at kevincookiecompanifactorytours.com. Over on the right-hand side, you can click on Manage. And here I can see that I'm currently on the free plan, or at least a plan that comes with my website account. And here I'll click on Select. And then you can add any number of email addresses at your domain. Simply walk through these steps and you'll now have your very own email address. And that wraps up our complete tutorial on how to build a website with AI. If you're looking to make your very first website, then I highly recommend Hostinger AI Website Builder, since it's really perfect for beginners. I hope this tutorial helped you understand how simple and effective it can be to make your own website with Hostinger's tools. Remember to use the link hostinger.com/Kevin Stratvert and use the coupon code Kevin Stratvert for 10% off your website. To watch more videos like this one, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.